Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, whenever, wherever you're watching. I hope you're doing better than I am because I straight up just used the wrong intro. I use an intro from my other channel, so that shows you what type of day I'm having. Jeez. Let me see. Let me check out the comments because Chris says hello, everybody. Lorden says hello, everyone. Just finished this episode in time for your show. Oh my God, everything is a mess. Yes, it is. Fominky Latte says, hey, peoples. Tony Man says, hey, Chris, yo, Lorden info. Well, I'm confused after watching, but I'm here. Hey, Tony, Chris. Fominky Latte says, I heard it was crazy. What I'll do, let me know what social medias do you all use, because I know where to watch this. That's all I'm saying. A little birdie told me, but I can't say it on here. But if you tell me what your social medias are, I can probably tell you there. Okay, I'm going to share again so we can get right into this. Starting with Danielle and Yohan. Sorry, I'm having a little bit of technical difficulty because my... Let's see if this loads properly. I have my notes because I didn't watch this today. Oh, it's telling me Evernote is not responding. What a pain in the ass. Today is like, I wish, how Ice Cube said today is a good day. Today is not a good day. So, anyways, the name of the episode is Mixed Signals and Mixed Nuts. It's Love in Paradise, Season 2, Episode 6. RIP to anyone this is their first time watching me. They probably think I have no idea what the hell I'm doing because today is sucking so hard. But we're starting off with Danielle and Yohan, and they are packing their bags, leaving for a trip to Yohan's family's place out in the country, which they refer to the country as El Campo in Dominican Republic. So he's taken to El Campo, and unfortunately, dude ate $200 worth of peanuts from the mini bar. I know I would be pissed. Tony Man, are you using wireless headphones? Because your battery might be going low if that's what's happening. Because my internet says signal is strong and everything. Lorden says audio is good. Foamicky Light says most of the time I can find it, but I didn't search for it. Okay. And Tony says it's Monday, Shosh. Don't worry about it. Thanks. I'm feeling better because, gosh, I got off to a really shaky start. So where was I? Like I said, dude ate $200. Everybody, well, most people know not to eat the food in the mini bar in the hotel because you're going to get charged $6 for that candy bar. You're going to get charged like, I don't know, $10 for a soda. I don't know how he ate $200 worth of peanuts. That seems excessive. And Tony says, yes, Bluetooth, switch to headphones. Yeah, that's what happens when the battery starts going low. Kind of reminds you back in the day with CD Walkmans, how when the battery started going, well, actually with the cassette players, even when a battery went low, your song started playing in like slow motion. So, anyways, later on, they are traveling in the car, and dude is still eating peanuts in front of her, like to add insult to injury. But still, how many peanuts do you have to eat for it to be $200 worth out of the mini bar? I'm still on that. Anyways, Danielle's talking more about her faith, and she referred to herself as a bruja and asked him how does he feel about brujeria, which roughly translates to witchcraft. Lorden says, I was waiting to see him choke. Yeah, he didn't choke. And she tells him it's against her religion or it's bad luck to eat peanuts. phone, Mickey Lottie says, oh, he knows, but he just don't care because she got money. Mm-hmm. Yeah, he don't care. He's going on to say a lot of the things that Danielle does for her faith, he doesn't believe in at all. But Danielle is not the best representative for her faith. I'm quite sure people who do practice Santeria or Brujeria or Ibu, or there's another one that's similar to Ibu. I'm not Ibo. Am I saying it wrong again? Ibo. There's another one that is similar to that that I can't get the name for, but a lot of these religions are African in origin, Caribbean in origin. Some of them go as far back as being indigenous, I would say, and people kind of misrepresent them. I think it's not a good representation even to call it brujeria when it really isn't witchcraft what she's doing. But I mean, I don't think she's, like I said before, I think that she floats around in and out of these things, and that she doesn't really get deeply ingrained into them. So I don't think she's a good representative of these spiritual beliefs. But he goes on to say that he was taught that brujas eat newborn babies and suck their blood so they can fly at night. That's what Yohan was taught. I bet he prays to a white Jesus. Anyways, Danielle learns about poverty, which it is crazy to me. She's asking if his family has a problem with it, and of course he's going to say yes. But when she gets to El Campo, this is the house that he lives in with his parents and his 4 sisters and some nieces and nephews as well. But she talks about how she was surprised to see the poverty that he lives in, even though she lives in New York. But this shows you how separated New York is, because there are people living in abject poverty right in New York, but it's not within her worldview because she probably stays in one little bubble of New York. And of course, as TLC does, they always find a cat. I said this before. Whoever does their B-roll filming always finds a cat. And here's the cat that they found for this episode, just sitting there looking. They show, of course, that this particular home does not have running water. And I mean, most places in the U.S. do have running water, but there are some places that have well water, which is different from having like water from the city. And I'm sure there are places that still don't have running water. You'd be surprised in the United States. Very, very surprised. There are literally people that live out in the Appalachian Mountains that have to walk 2 hours to get to a bus stop to go to school. That's right here in the U.S., but we don't see them on TV too much. This is Danielle meeting some of Yohan's sisters. Very nice looking family, beautiful family. They're very friendly towards her. That's a good thing, because a lot of times on the shows you have, like, we went through the whole Pedro's sister issue, which that little heifer. Anyways, they're a very nice family. And he talks about living with his parents and how he travels over an hour to work every day, which I used to do actually right here in the, but I did it by car. I think he took public transportation for an hour, but I used to drive for an hour to work and back home for several years. And there are people that do that in the US, especially people that work for these theme parks like Disney World and Disneyland. A lot of those people that can't afford to live close to the theme parks. So if they do not have a car, it is about an hour commute by bus, sometimes more, to go to these jobs. So she has to think about it, even though she sat there and said in front of these people that she pays $4,000 a month in rent. Now, to us, we're like, that's an absorbent amount of a month for rent. And I'm thinking, why the hell is she staying in New York, period? Because I've been through this. I lived in Rye, New York. And at the time, I came down and visited my sister in Florida. And when I lived in Rye, my rent was the base rent, what I think was like $1,650 a month, plus utilities, plus internet, plus parking. And I came down and visited my sister, and at the time she was living in Winter Park, Florida. Her rent was like $595. She had racquetball court, 2 pools, fitness center, heat and hot water included. And I said, what the hell am I doing? And that's how That was the impetus for why I ended up in Florida. It's just not worth it. It's not worth paying $4,000 a month in rent and all you get is a little box with no amenities. Then I got to toggle back over, check out what's happening in the chat. Tommy says, yeah, it was chopped and screwed before there was chopped and screwed, referring to listening to a Walkman with low batteries. I have slammed on the brakes when he ate one to try to get him to choke. You're the second person I was waiting. You and Lorjan want to see him choke. Ifa. There's another one. Yoruba. That's what I was looking for. Yoruba is another one that's kind of similar to Ifa. But a lot of these things are not well understood in Western spaces, and sometimes they are disrespected. And I don't like that. Fomiki Latte says, she's one of those new age practitioners. Yes. I heard that he prays to that dude who offered himself in a jail cell. Are you talking about Jeffrey? I'm just going to call him by his first name because it's the only person I can think of about who jail. That's the first thing that comes to mind when I think of a person in a jail cell. Anyways, out west, on some people got to drive miles just to get water. I was surprised when I found out. Yeah. I did too. Once it was 8 hours because of a snowstorm. Yeah. Oh yeah. Up north, there's been times where the commute is ridiculous. There's a whole group of people that commute in and out of the city. When I say city, I mean to people that aren't from the tri-state area, New York City. There's a lot of people that literally go from Rhode Island, Connecticut, and New Jersey into New York every day for work and then out of New York every night because they can't afford to live in a city where they work. Shoot, I think people in Flint still don't have clean running water. Yeah, I think it's a possibility. Yes, not offered. I said oft. Okay. And yes, that guy. I don't see the connection. But I'm going to continue. So in Danielle's mind, she doesn't understand why his family thinks she can support them. But you just said you pay $4,000 a month in rent. So to someone from outside the United States, they're going to look at you like you must be rich if you're paying $4,000 a month for rent. She's got to think about how she looks from the outside of New York lens. Because even within the United States, if she went outside of New York and told people, like, say, in the Midwest or down south that she was paying how much, they would also assume that she was rich. And let's get into VaLentine and Carlos. If you hear ice jangling, I'm sipping some water that I put some lemon juice in and chlorophyll. That makes it more refreshing. So VaLentine and Carlos are on their way also to a different place. Like, everyone is traveling from one place to a different place in this episode. Carlos feels at peace and happy, and he's trying to come out of his shell for VaLentine. They are heading to Santa Marta for like a little weekend vacation, and they have a bit of a lover's quarrel in the car, but I keep getting distracted by Carlos's hair. Carlos even gets distracted by his hair. Look at this. Let me advance the frame. I just kept on looking at the hair. Like he needs to drop like a video or something about what conditioners he's using, if he's using leave-in conditioners, what shampoos, because, well, men usually their hair always looks healthier than when women grow our hair long. I kind of think of it like the lion versus the lioness. Lions have the full mane and lionesses don't. So usually when men grow their hair out, I don't even think they need to use the type of products that women have to use. Very interesting. So anyways, their quarrel consists of Carlos Val thinking that Carlos is too sensitive. And again, it's giving Gen X versus Gen Z outlook on life. And it's true. As a Gen Xer, we are cold and dead inside because no one cared about our self-esteem or trauma. And that kind of sucks. Millennials are more sensitive, but it's because they were allowed to be, because there was a such thing as self-esteem. There was a such thing as recognizing people's trauma. So I think it's just a generational misunderstanding more than anything. And there are some Gen Xers that can come off as bitter because we weren't allowed the space to be sensitive. And I think we should stop doing that and be sensitive now. I think some of us tend to be too insensitive because that's what we were kind of conditioned to be. But I think it's time to reverse that and to stop being insensitive. But at the same time, there are times that millennials can go overboard, like the whole crying on camera thing. As a Gen Xer, I will never understand why you would turn your camera on and then cry in front of it. We cry alone in the shower where no one can see you. It's a generational divide is what I'm saying. Anyways, they do talk it out, which is, they usually do. And I always say that I am impressed with their ability to communicate with each other. And they almost wear hoochie daddy shorts. If the end scenes were just 2 inches shorter, these would count as hoochie daddy shorts, but they're not quite. They're almost hoochie daddy shorts, but they look nice. And I like the colors. They like to wear, colorful things. They where they're staying at in Santa Marta, it looks really beautiful. The hotel, the view is overlooking the water, which is really, really nice. And later they end up going down to the water to have a talk. And they have a very sweet moment, because Val talks about how past trauma affects how he deals with situations that threaten to make him feel disrespected and powerless. And Carlos lets him know that he understands this because he also has faced similar obstacles. So that was great to have them connect on that. And VaLentine lets Carlos knows that he loves him very much, and Carlos tells him that he loves him back. And he also says, "Did I tell you that you look very beautiful in red?" And I just thought that was so sweet to say. And red does suit him. I like it as well. But they are like a one spot of sunshine in the dark cloud that is this show. Let me go back and check the comments. Lorden says, no, they don't fold. They destroyed the machine that was giving them clean water. The government did. Oh, wow. Tony Man says, I said it when I watched that episode. If he's a top, he sure was acting like a bottom during that argument. Well, I'm not going to get into that because that could be an oversimplification of that. The reason why I hesitate to get into that is because, like I said, I'm a cisgender heterosexual woman. So there's certain things I don't feel comfortable speaking on. While I want to support my queer brothers and sisters, I don't want to overstep when I'm talking about, their relationships. So I can only, how do I put it? Like, I don't want to be accidentally offensive. That's what I will call it. So I'm not going to co-sign what you just said, just because I feel like it could be overstepping. Fomiki Latte says they cry on camera for pity and clout. It could be. Fomiki Latte says, oh no, that's messed up regarding the Flint water thing. Tony says, duly noted. Yeah, I get that you're joking, and I know, knowing you in person, that you probably don't mean to be offensive or to hurt anyone's feelings. It's just that I keep in mind that people are in different parts of their life's journey. And again, you're Gen X, like I'm Gen X. We're hard, cold, and dead inside. We can handle that. But if someone were watching and they're earlier in their journey, maybe they're in their early 20s, that might come off as hurtful to them. So just try to keep that in mind. All right, right here, I believe we're looking at an overhead shot that I took a screen capture of this because I used a really cool drone shot of Jamaica. And I wanted to show you this because this is why Sherlon does not want to leave. Look at the paradise that he lives in. Why would he want to leave this to go live in Illinois? And then also, what are his job prospects in Illinois? As like, if he did decide to get citizenship in the US, and he's always worked at resorts, there aren't a hell of a lot of resorts where she is in Illinois where his skills would be transferable. He would probably end up having some type of like minimum wage or just above minimum wage job. I'm thinking the most viable option for him would probably be at some Amazon warehouse. And like, why would you give up living in paradise, working in paradise, to go live in cold ass Illinois and work at an Amazon warehouse. Like, no, it's not even, it's like she's not understanding what she's asking him to do. But at the same time, he should have wrapped it up and he wouldn't have had these problems. Fomiculite says, I say that only because I'm a millennial. See, again, I feel better about you talking about your generation than me talking about your generation, because you have more of an insider look at what's happening. So yeah, so I will go with what you're saying. If they're doing it for pity and clout, then yeah. They go to this place, and I had to take these screen captures because, number one, that looked refreshing. And that's part of the reason why I put the lemon juice in my water today. I should have added a little bit of sugar and made it fully lemonade. But I was looking at these drinks going, that looks so refreshing. And I took a screen capture, the name of the place. I think it's right there. RastaAde. It's lemonade, but it's RastaAde. And I just like, I want some RastaAde. Anyways, look at their new picture where they're looking sullen and upset. The fact that they have to make them go back and retake these little pictures for them to use for each episode. And I refuse to believe this person is 35 years old. Your birth certificate is a lie. So at the RastaAde, they are continuing the same argument they've been having. Sherlon says that he has never had to commit, and basically he's for the streets. So I kind of stopped listening to the argument because I while watching this, I had to explain her lashes again to people that were watching the show with me, that they're not your regular temporary glue on in the morning, take off at night lashes, that they are the semi-permanent lashes that look like need to be redone, or they're falling, and also they're in the wrong shape. Whoever did them put the longest lashes in the middle instead of towards the outer side of her eyes. So anyways, that's why I didn't take as many notes on this. But at one point, Sherlon has a Kobe moment, and he gets fed up and tells her to shut the F up and listen. And I can't not laugh, because it's just like, it's a repeat of the same thing. Because really, they're the same person. Emily and Aryanna are the same person. They're just in different parts of the US, but they're the same person. Same issues, same being almost 30 years old and not really being an adult type of thing. Same trying to trap people with babies like they don't know how birth control works. Still the same sleeping with people in foreign countries without using any contraceptives or any condoms, because you're lucky that you just got a baby. What if you had gotten some incurable disease? Like, do they? I don't know. I'm gonna leave that alone. Anyways, Sherlon says that his mom is in town, and they're gonna meet up with her mom and introduce their mothers, and also introduce baby Sherlon. Baby Odin, who's adorable. Look at his little face. He's really paying attention. Like, it was really cool the way that baby is. And this is Ariana's mother arriving. And did you know her name is Karen? I just now noticed that her name is Karen. But she's arriving from the airport, goes to the hotel, and to my surprise, baby Odin can crawl. It's just that she's constantly holding him. But she does put him down, and he crawls over to his grandma, who's super happy to see him. And they're also staying at this really pretty hotel. They had moved. Remember last episode, she said the baby couldn't sleep, was just her that couldn't sleep, and stopped staying with Sherlon and started staying in that hotel instead. What am I missing? She does have a conversation with her mother later about how Sherlon has told her that he is public peen, but she still plans to tell Sherlon's mom about the situation to see if maybe his mother could convince him to not be a public peen. I don't know if that's going to happen. This man is 35 years old. And as my grandmother says, you bend a sapling when it's young. You cannot bend a tree. Shout out to African-American proverbs. So who's next? This is how the sunset is looking in Puerto Vallarta, Mexico, when Abby and Gaby are meeting on the beach. I'm just took these screenshots because part of the reason why I love watching 90 Day is to see different places that I can't afford to travel to right now. And when I mean can't afford, I mean literally either can't afford monetarily, but also can't afford physically because I am unfortunately an immunocompromised person, so I can't go running around during the damn pandemonium. And on the beach, there's a fire dancer, and it took me back because we used to have these in Florida. Like there was very often you would go to the beach, whether it was in not so much in Miami Beach. I never saw them in Miami, but in Daytona, New Smyrna, Cocoa Beach, St. Augustine, you would always see a fire dancer or a hula hoop girl. And I haven't seen them in years. Like what happened to the fire dancers and hula hoop girls? Maybe they all moved. But I thought that was pretty cool seeing a fire dancer there. And so we get to Abby and Gaby, who are going over what happened, or the revelation that Frankie was going to marry Abby and then try to bring Gaby later. But the thing is, Frankie never mentioned this, and Abby never told Gaby. And so, they're out here also overlooking the water at night, which is beautiful. I bet you the camera crew and producers of 90 Day just have fun on their own, just going to these different places and shooting. It's got to be like a vacation where you have to work. Anyways, they're out there, and Gaby is obviously upset, and she's rightfully so. And Abby is trying to explain to her that their plan was to bring her to the U.S. And of course, she's like, why didn't you trust me enough to tell me? Because literally, you could have just told her this was your plan. Like, it doesn't make sense for you not to tell her your plan if that was truly your plan. So it makes it feel like it wasn't truly your plan. And they kind of leave it on a cliffhanger where Abby, see, I was trying to get my Abby and Gaby straight. Abby breaks down crying, like boohoo crying. And Gaby walks away and says, love who you want because I'm going to love who I want. And that's like, I wrote in my notes, this is low-key real life telenovela, the way that it came across. But if they're acting, they are amazing actors. But it felt real as hell to me. And that's how that episode literally ended. So let me put that like that. Okay, let me. Filmmaking Light says, and attention, that's another reason. Yes. Chris says, in general, I think some of these chicks are addicted to struggle love because they talk about needing to make sure it's right way after the fact or days before the dang wedding. Yes, this is true. I think they are. They have a romanticized version about how things are going to go, and they also may still believe in that old wives' tale of being able to fix a dude. You cannot fix a dude. You have to accept them how they are, or how because they're pretty much who they're going to be. Like, you're pretty much who you're going to be post, we'll say 28, because people are still developing in your 20s. You're really still developing, and that's a good time for you to try out different things, find out what you like, what you don't like, and find yourself, basically. But once these dudes are in their 30s, there's the chances of them changing are very, very slim. And a lot of dudes that are like this in their 30s, they become dudes in their 50s that are the creeper in the club, wondering why the young girls don't want to talk to them. Because you want to run around and talk to young women in your 50s, and you're out here looking like the old dude in the club, and it's not a good look. It's not cool. And a lot of times, I mean, being a woman and having been in the bathroom with women, hearing them literally laugh at you old dudes, like, oh, I'm going to get them to buy me this, and I'm going to, to kick them to the curb. Like, they're not looking at you like that. They really are not. And then they get 60 and they want to try to settle down. And it's like, dude, no, it's too late now. You're grandpa age. Like, no, maybe it's an arrested development thing. They should go to therapy and figure out why it is that they are afraid to advance in life. Or they need to just be honest and say, you know what, I'm going to be a bachelor forever, and just don't even try to settle down. Like, I'm just leave us alone when you're in your 60s, and leave us alone. let me stop. I'm off on a tangent. Filmmaking Logic says, I wonder how many hours do they film for? Yeah, because they must have to edit this stuff down so severely for the amount of hours that they have to wait until like something pops off. Hey, Mafal Medom. Nice to see you here. He says, public peen, LOL. Tony Man says, what happened? It's too damn expensive to buy the fuel for the fire dance. Oh, Oh, you're right. You're absolutely right. Fomiculi says, I don't know how Abby thought that was going to work. Tony May100 says, it does happen though. It says, so you're saying I'm getting close to grandpa age? Not yet, but you're at the age where you gotta shit or get off the pot type of thing. Either just determine whether you want to be a family man or whether you want to be a bachelor forever. Which there's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with people who don't ever want to marry. I think it's wrong when you're a person who never wants to marry and you try to have relationships with people who do want to marry. That's always going to end up messed up. My family dome says 60 in the club is the worst. I see old people in the club and I'm like, what happened? Yeah, I remember I went out one New Year's Eve and there were two gentlemen, had to be in their 60s. They literally got kicked out of the club because they were acting a plumb fool and they were trying to make it rain with paper napkins, and then they ended up trying to fight each other. And imagine being in your 60s and getting kicked out of a club. Like, that is a really, really bad look. When I'm in my 60s, I want to be chilling somewhere. Like, I want to be on vacation, sitting in I want to be like on that beach that they showed the overhead in Jamaica. That's where I want to be when I'm 60. Not in somebody's hot club having to, Uber back and forth or look for parking or no, I want to be I'm going to be in a resort with like someone younger handing me drinks. Yes, hand me a drink so I can sit on my old ass and relax. Yeah, I'm not even at that age and I don't half the time don't want to go out. Like the panini is one of the best things that could happen to an introvert because now we don't have to make excuses for why we don't want to go places. It's usually I spent so many years saying, yeah, I'll go. And then at the last minute, feeling like I don't feel like going and then having to make an excuse. And when, this hit and everybody had to stay in, I was like, finally enough time. Like that Twilight Zone episode. Chris says, not napkins. Yes, they were making it rain with napkins and just being too much. I know it was New Year's Eve and yeah, a lot of people were drinking a lot, but you can be a person who drinks that is not annoying or doing too much. I've heard people call it holding your liquor. Some people are not able to hold their liquor and they shouldn't be out in public doing that. Mafalmi says, I am very much afraid of marriage, though. Well, that's fine. Just don't date people who that is their goal. Because there are people that are meant to not marry. Just don't lie to people. And that way, there's definitely people who love to be in relationships where they are not married. Like, for example, Kurt Russell and Goldie Hawn never got married. Oprah and Stedman never got married. Both of their relationships have lasted longer than people who have repeatedly got married, like Jennifer Lopez or who else? Kim Kardashian. Those people keep getting married over and over again, and maybe they're not the type of people that need to be married. So trust me, I'm not indicting people who don't want to be married. Nothing wrong with that. I'm just saying, be honest with yourself, be honest with the people that you interact with so that you don't have these issues where the person feels like you're not being upfront with them. Now, the thing with Aryanna and Sherlon is he has been upfront with her. He's told her that he's been public peeing and it's for the streets the whole time. She just keeps thinking that she can change this about him. And it's like, no, you can't change this about this old ass man who's pretending to be 35. That man works at a swingers resort for a reason. She just picked the wrong one to try to be the father to her child. My family says, I never do. I tell them up front. Yes, that's good. You should always be upfront, and then nobody can say that you misled them. Up in the club restroom, having to tiptoe around pee-pee. Yeah. Like I'm at a stage of life where if I go out someplace, I want it to be the most relaxing thing. I don't want to have to worry about parking. I don't want to. I'm at a stage where I'm looking at my high heel shoes, going, do I really want to endure the discomfort of wearing heels? No, I'm going to put on my sneakers again. But on the bright side, my feet look fabulous. I have no corns or bunions or I don't know, other foot ailments that people that wear, heels have. I don't have those issues. I'm very thankful because my grandfather was the one that told me there's two things you take care of. Take care of your feet and your teeth because those are the things that are going to trouble you the most as you age. So thanks, Papa, for telling me that. Ariana heard what she wanted to hear. Yes. A cheetah never changes its spots. There you go. Lauren says, I knew I wanted to be single forever when I was 16. Mm-hmm. There's, like I said, there's nothing wrong with that. There's different types of people in the world, and it's okay if that's what you want for yourself. I'd rather see you be happy and single than be miserable and be tied to someone. That's not cool. And it creates toxic relationships, and even worse if you have children in these situations. Don't do it. Real beauty has to hurt, Tony Man says. No, it doesn't. Yeah, I have heard that expression before. The beauty is pain expression. But yeah, this episode felt very short. Wait, Tony Man says, and yet Lorjan has multiple wives. Oh, are you talking about the YouTube wives? Is that Lorjan that says that? I don't remember. I know there's somebody that has called me their wife, and also Curly Girl at the movies their wife, but I don't remember whether that was Lorjan or not. But that's me. My memory is not great. Mafalmi says single life is incredible. Yeah, I can imagine so. Like it's weird. I'm in a weird predicament because I don't date at all. I just stay at home and watch movies and reality TV. This is my life now. And I'm actually happier now than when I was around a lot of people. But I think, again, it's the introvert thing. I used to try to pretend to be more extroverted because sometimes I find that people are uncomfortable around introverts. And somebody is calling me, and I need to get. I'll have to call them back. I'm live streaming. Anyways, I was saying sometimes people are uncomfortable around introverts. So especially if you don't speak up, they think that you are hiding something, or they think that you don't like them, which happens a lot. You get painted as either you don't like them or you're stuck up, and it's really not the case. You're just not sure what to say, or you're just feeling people out to see, how they are. So for a time period in my life, I used to fake extroversion, but I didn't think I did it very well. So I ended up saying awkward things all the time because I'm purposely trying to be extroverted, but not being good at it. Mafalmi says, I'm a homebody too. Hate being around people. They get on my nerves. Mm-hmm. Lauren says, yes, it's me. I love my wives from a distance. Okay, so it is you. Yes. Well, let me get out of here because I feel like I've run out of things to say and I'm just rambling at this point. And I have to get ready for another live stream. I'm going to be on Hood Podcast tonight. We're going to talk about that new Resident Evil, the CW Resident Evil. So make sure you are subscribed to. I'm going to write it in here. Hood Podcast. And as a matter of fact, let me share my screen so I can show you the channel, because what happens, let me do like this. Tony says, I'm happy being me. However, I can't stand being around people, especially at the grocery store. So what we're going to do is we're going to share the screen, and I'm going to show you. When you type in Hood Podcast on YouTube, we don't come up at the top, unfortunately, yet. So you have to scroll down. Hood Stocks come up, and I don't even know why Hood Stocks comes up before us. They're not called Hood Podcast. So you literally have to keep scrolling until here we are, Hood Podcast. You go there and subscribe. As you see, last week, Jay and Royama talked about Quantum T. Well, that was 2 months ago. I'm sorry, but they did talk about Act Man again. This is when they talked about Quantum TV versus Act Man. But I feel like they had a secondary video. Yeah, 4 days ago, Act Man monetized a glorious victory. We talked about the boys finale. We talked about the boys all season, if you notice here. We also talked about Obi-Wan. The channel is pretty good. Look, you got to check us out. Go to Hood Podcast. We're going to be talking about that new Resident Evil tonight. So again, I'll go home so everybody can see the... So you can see the little avatar there. That's who you look for. Okay, let's see some more comments here. I went to the mall and walked out within 10 minutes. Oh, wow. Why did you do that? Why did you go to a mall? It's like last time I went to a mall, it was like a museum. I walked around and took pictures of the different displays in the windows because it really felt like a museum. Hood stocks, buy and sell that shit, motherfucker, LOL. Is that what it said? I scrolled past it. Let's see. No, their motto is Hood stocks. Our motto is invest in yourself. Okay. Well, let me get out of there. Close that out. Get myself ready to go so I can review. I gotta watch. I gotta watch at least the first episode. Maybe I might be able to make it through 2 episodes of Resident Evil before we talk about it tonight. Toman says, I got some bootleg shades, 3 for $15. Oh, that's what you got at the mall. All right, let me get out of here. I will see y'all tomorrow to talk about the regular 90 Day Fiance. Keep in mind that coming up, we're going to be talking about 90 Day Fiance UK, which premieres on July 24th. And I most likely will continue to talk about 90 Day Happily Ever After. Maybe I might do a slight reaction video to the trailer that they dropped. We'll see, because you know how TLC is about dinging people with copyright. So that's a maybe. But I would love to talk about some of the scenes that are shown in the trailer for the 90 Day Happily Ever After. And with that, I will say goodbye.